Good morning, my friend. Happy, holy, good Thursday. It is the end of our second week in our new reality, and I'm so very happy to welcome you. Today, I will be addressing you for about 30 minutes. No weekend is coming, and we all need to decompress somehow. First, let me begin by all of the announcement that I need to do right away. A reminder. The first half of Learning Guide 5 assignment, because you know there's going to be a second half next week, is not due tomorrow. It is due on Tuesday, April 14, after Easter Monday. And as I've always said, the sun's going to rise again. Time is relative. Do your best because we are all in the same boat together. On Tuesday, I will be streaming regularly at 10:30 a.m. I will also be providing you on Tuesday with the second half of assignment for Learning Guide 5. I am still awaiting those of you that need to forward to me their final copy of Learning Guide 3. Only the final copy of the paper, guys. You do not need to send me none of the Learning Guide. Please email me directly that paper at my ecst.net address. The sooner the better, but you know that I'm very patient. Do not forget, when I do that, I'm just waiting for the connection. As well, my friend, by now you should have slowly begun to connect with your course advisor in order to keep going with your class. We are all understanding the situation that we're in, and everybody will initiate in their due time, but you need to get it done, guys. Life does not start. It is a temporary measure right now. Today's lesson. You all know that we are talking about imperialism during this week and next week. Well, I've got the perfect lesson for you this morning. Today marks the 103rd year anniversary of the Battle of Vimy, a battle that happened during World War One. The inspiration came to me a couple of days ago while I was listening to news like everybody does in regard of the notion of service. You know, our service right now as student, as teacher, is to be home, is to wash our hands, is to be helpful to others. Well, service can also be called to go to war on behalf of the country. In 1940, as you know, empires still ruled the world. We have not begun at that time. I apologize, I'm just fixing my screen so it's proper. Hey, what up, friends? There's a lot of empires in Europe and around the world. You all know that since the beginning of the Middle Ages, the political system that got established around the world was based on power and land control. Empires began to rise. The British Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the Persian Empire that is today Iran. Empires have always been around. Well, between 1914 and 1918, you know, Canada is an independent country. It's a dominion of. We are fully independent from 1867, but the British government, our former metropolis, still controlled two domains of human activities. Foreign affairs. That means the British government was able still in 1914 to impose upon their former colony and independent country as a dominion like Canada laws that would require Canadians to act. As well, Canada in 1914 is a very small country. There's maybe 10 million people instead of the 38 million people that we have today plus. Well, guys, World War One is a war of empires. and I will talk to you about the Battle of Vimy today. Well, guys, in 1914, in the city of Sarajevo, that would be today the Southern Balkan, the future heir to the Kingdom of Austria-Hungary is assassinated in the city of Sarajevo. His name was Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. He was supposed to become the next king of that empire. Well, what happened is that on June 28th, if I recall, 1914, a Serbian nationalist named Princip is a student. He belonged to a nationalist cell named the Black Fist, will assassinate in broad daylight that future king. Well, it will trigger an international war for revenge. Before 1914, the world is not a very fun place. There's a lot of political tension between empires in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, because European nations still control lots of colonies. There's a lot of tension to a point where a system of alliance is created in Europe. On one hand, you have the Triple Alliance, where the main belligerent will be Italy, Germany, and the Kingdom of Austria-Hungary, that is today Hungary, used to be part of that empire. Down the road, that alliance will be joined by the Ottoman Empire. That would be the empire where you have the country of Turkey today, Iran, Iraq, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, and so on. On the other hand, France and the Kingdom of Russia, because don't forget, Russia is not a country until 1917. It's an empire ruled by a Tsar. His name is Nikolai II. Upon the assassination of that Archduke, automatically the Triple Alliance will declare war. Russia will declare war to Austria-Hungary and to what's today Serbia for the assassination of the Duke. Russians believe that they are the originator of white European people that originally settled that part of Southern Europe. And it will trigger a series of declaration of war from the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance. A few days after the assassination, Great Britain will declare war upon Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary. The fact that Britain declared war will automatically start a dominion, an independent country with no control over foreign affairs. Declaring war is a foreign affair matter. World War I will cost the lives to over 10 million people worldwide, including thousands of Canadians. The European front of World War I is mostly on the border between Germany, Belgium, and France from the north to the south, Belgium and eastern France to the north. At first, that war is supposed to be what historians call a funny war, where it should not last more than the summer. Therefore, there's a lot of men from all across what we call the Commonwealth that will unroll, believing that by the end of the summer they'll be back home. Well, as you all know, it wasn't the fact. That war lasted over 4 years until November 11, 1980. That's why that on November 11, we have Remembrance Day today in Canada. and across the world. Well, there was one battle that was very important that happened in 1970 and that involved Canadian. We call that the Battle of Vimy Ridge. In the eyes of most Canadian and world historians, that is the battle that made Canada going from a small post-colonist country to a full-fledged democratic country like we are today. It put Canada on the map, bottom line. Let me explain to you the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Vimy is an hour off the coast of Normandy on the east side on the border with Belgium. There's some little town around Vimy, and that ridge, don't forget the ridge is a hill that is named Arras, Arras. It is very close to happen in 1916. At the mid 1915, we have the beginning of the trench war between the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente in what they call the Northern Front, the north of Germany, France, Belgium, and so on. Trench war basically means that you will have a no man's land dividing the two armies that is no longer than maybe a half a kilometer, sometimes maybe a few hundred meters. And you will have tens of thousands of soldiers back of the battlefield. Look at it as a maze. In the back, far back, you have the hospital, you have the morgue, you have all of the service that the soldier can have. And soldiers are walking towards the front using that network of labyrinth. Well, on the other side, on the Triple Alliance side and the German side, they had the same. So for all close to 3 years in the Northern Front, both army, well, one of them was very costing, and I'm not talking economically, to the lifestyle of people across the world. People were dying by the ton. For years, the Triple Entente. Just waiting, guys. Were trying to breach the Northern Front in Flanders to try to advance towards Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary from the north to try to end the war. And at no time they were able to breach the no man's land controlled by the German. Well, Vimy is a hill that give a very good view to the east. The east would be where is Belgium, Germany, and so on. For years, well, after the Battle of the Somme that happened in 1916, that involved a lot of Canadians, the Canadian Army, the 4th Division of Canadian Army, or what we call the Canadian Corps, or the First Army, will move from the Somme after the battle to the region of Arras, where is the hill of Vimy, about 10 kilometers away from there. Vimy, by the way, is very close to a small village named Givenchy. Think of Givenchy, the perfume. That's what it is. Well, there was a plan in secret put together by the Triple Entente where the British Empire would try once again to take that hill. But the difference is the following. The 4th Division, it will be led by a Canadian general leading Canadian troops to battle. Well, 170,000 men will begin secret preparation in February 1917 to try to launch an offense in early April of 1917. Therefore, what the Canadian division have done, they were preparing ahead of time every maneuver that would need to be done in the hope of taking that ridge. As an example, they dug underground tunnel. They dug a shelter where soldiers can hide for weeks on end, awaiting the morning to battle, to try to cut the Triple Alliance army, the German army, off guard. Well, in that part of Europe, there's a lot of what we call chalk in the soft underground that would be awaiting the sound of the morning to battle. Well, this fourth division of the Canadian Corps plan and rehearse and look at every possible scenario to try to take that hill. Don't forget, the Canadian general will command four divisions of Canadian soldiers, all Canadian, coming from Edmonton to Calgary, from Quebec City and Vancouver, name it. But they are still under the supreme leadership of the British Army. They will coordinate. Well, the fourth division of the Canadian Corps will fight the German Sixth Army on that battle. After months of preparation, in the early morning of April 9, 1917, today, 170,000 men from both armies will enter battle. The Canadians are so well prepared that when the battle begins, they are all coming out of their hideout. Everybody's got a task to do, a service, and thousands of Canadian men will climb and run towards the top of that ridge, Vimy Ridge. After hours and hours of battle, that battle goes from April 9th to April 12th, 1917. Something miraculous happened for the Triple Entente. After 2.5 years of bloody trench war, the Northern Front is finally open. Our four Canadian divisions alone, with our Canadian general, will take that ridge. It's never been done. The world is flabbergasted from the accomplishment of the Canadian division. But it will come at a very heavy cost of human being. 3,598 Canadians died, and over 7,000 Canadian soldiers are wounded in 4.5 days. That's close to 10,600 young men and women just a tiny bit older than you. Do not forget, a lot of soldiers were lying on their age in order to enlist. And the Department of Defense were also kind of being very lenient about official age. Birth certificate were basically only a record kept by church. So it was really easy to lie on your age. Some boys, 15 years old, 16 years old, went to that battle. In 4 days, 3,500 of us died. But it did something that changed the course of the world. It allowed the Triple Entente, France, England, India, Russia, to put more pressure on the Triple Alliance. And don't forget, Italy, Austria-Hungary is an empire. The Ottoman Empire will join that alliance, and Germany. A year and a half later, on November 11, 1918, we have the armistice, the end of World War I. where Germany will surrender Italy, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, and so on. Russia will walk out of World War One. You have to know that. In Russia will uprise against the Tsar Nikolai II and will depose him. They will kill him, his wife, the queen, their children. They will kill them all. And they will impose upon the kingdom of Russia a new political system named communism. It's led by a man named Lenin. And we will talk about that when we do our grade 11 and grade 12 course. Don't worry. Imperialistic power can decide the future of hundreds of millions of citizens on the blink of an eye. If we go to war, we cannot put everybody into the war. We will not consider anything else. World War One was called the Great War, guys. When you think about all of that, imperialism needs to be understood in a school context. So you better understand how that age of empire slowly erode. That means goes away after World War One. As an example, England will give political independence to Ireland in 19. Well, it will also give India, that is a full colony, more autonomous power. The empire of Austria-Hungary will be dissolved. It will not exist no more. You will have the beginning of independent country like Romania, Hungary on their own, Austria on their own. Czechoslovakia will be born between what's today Germany and Austria that used to belong to that Austrian Empire. If you take the Middle East, the Ottoman Empire will be dissolved. Turkey will become on its own. Iran, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Jordan. I'm going all the way south, but I'm not touching Africa because it does not count in that part of that empire. I cannot say Israel at that time because Israel does not become a country recognized by the world community until a few years after World War II. So when you think of today's nation, the notion of service, our prime minister is not asking us to go to war. We will not come back from a war. We are going right now to what I would call a psychological war. We're fighting against in 1914. Men kill men, women kill women. Atrocity begin. Everything that you see in cities are shaved to the ground by bombs. They have to rebuild entire countries. All of infrastructure is together. Our school out there, our courthouse out there, our community hall out there, and so on. Therefore, the notion of service will vary according to the need of a nation, of a country, at a certain time in history. The fact that these four Canadian divisions, one did win one of the biggest battle of World War One, made Canada the country that we are today. A few years after the end of after the end of World War One, the British government will proclaim independent country through a document named the Status of Westminster. The Status of Westminster. It gave Canada total control of the Supreme Court because the court needed to be, the big case needed to go to London, not anymore. Deal with other country without passing through London. Therefore, in that era of imperialism, Canada with 11 million people basically win one of the biggest battle the war on our own through coordination. And the gift is the international recognition as of to today that Canada is one useful. We are giant. We have human resource very well educated. We have a lot of natural resource. We have the know-how. We have expertise for our society. That's why you guys are required to go to school until at least the end of grade 12, by the end of your 16 years of age. So imperialism began to disintegrate at the end of World War One. But foremost, Canada is a fully independent, free nation. After that, when World War II begins, and I'm not going there today, and Great Britain declared war upon Germany and Hitler, Canada is not automatically enrolled into the war. It will come from ourselves by a vote of the people of Canada at the House of Commons. Well, today Canada contribute to what's happening around the world. Our greatest mind, our doctor, we all working together to get out of it. But we also want to promote our growth around the world. If we discover a treatment in Canada, it will be shared with the world. Think of the Ebola virus that kills thousands in Africa and still a threat. Well, the vaccine for Ebola was discovered in Canada and today to heal people around the world. So when you think of imperialism, we are learning in class the fundamental of it, but it's more than that. It is the domino effect that 80 to 90% of countries today's nation state, as we call, are striving human right for its citizen. Some of them are better than others, I know that. And capitalism into a way of life. Well, guys, my last message before I get out. Today's Good Thursday. You know what it means. For some, faith is Passover. For us, is the day Judas, one of the apostles of Jesus, gave away Jesus. You know, tomorrow is Good Friday. You know that St. Peter will deny the knowing Jesus 3 times. And you know that tomorrow, for Christians around the world and Catholic, is the day Jesus was crucified to save us all from our sin. 2 days later, he resurrected to save us all. And he did because he empowered us to have hope for thy fellow neighbor. I have a lot of hope, guys. Are we into what we are right now? We need. I am planning the future every day when I wake up. In 1 year, I want to do that. In 2 years, I want to do that. Of course, the situation where and the timing may vary, but we all need to see the light. Therefore, I'm asking you to be empowered by the message and sacrifice that our Almighty Lord has done to save us. The vision that there will be an afterlife for us, that our soul doesn't die. The body is only basically the chassis of a car. When it's gone, the soul's still around. I truly believe that. And I believe that we all go somewhere that we call paradise. And some people call it other place. To keep us, our spirit, our soul together. My friends, Keep following the directive given to you by our health authority. It is paramount. Right now, Canada as a country, Alberta as a province are doing fairly good into fighting that enemy. If you look at some other countries, like in Italy, in Germany, in France, in Great Britain, and especially in the United States, collaboration at the political level between political parties and that sheer instinct of Canadian. As I've always said, guys, doesn't matter if you're here for 6 months, 6 years, or 200 years. Once a Canadian, we are Canadian and we will prevail. But we need to use our common sense. And our common sense is telling us right now is to be together, and that's okay. Network with your loved one. Network to those that you have ignored in the past. Create new friendship. Be humble. Be kind to your parents. It's very stressful for everybody. Don't forget, I'm a school teacher, but I'm also a papa. I'm also a son. I have a mother. I have children. And I have to keep myself in good shape. Like they need to do the same so we can all envision a greater future. And I truly believe that this is where we are heading, and citizens of the world, we will prevail. Therefore, my friend, I'm wishing you all the best, and we will always be free to think, to act, and to grow. On that, my friend, please enjoy the long weekend. It is long weekend. It will be for a few minutes. If you have a backyard, go in your backyard a few minutes here and there, but do not assemble as a group. You cannot do that. I'm not doing it, and I'm asking you not to do it as well. Ultimately, the human being made his final decision based on his level of understanding of the situation. And I know you, and you know what I know? High school student are the smartest, my friend. I will be back on Tuesday. I'm gonna take a couple of days of myself. I will not be answering emails, so on. I will just say, okay, if you send me an assignment, and be patient with your teachers and with the people that you love. Okay, guys, Tuesday, April 14th, first half of Learning Guide 5. Don't drag it too much. Priority number one, final copy, Learning Guide 3, written piece. Okay, guys, happy Easter, joyeux Pâques, and salutation to all of the parents that are right now maybe listening to me as well. Oh,